this.
Maybe 10.
Herb, you don't know what you're doing.
Big Joe's is the name of the place.
Big Joe's?
Big Joe's.
Fraud. I don't know. It could be. It's just a newcomer, right? Like somebody.
Yeah.
Like somebody here might.
I don't know.
Hey, Dave.
Hey.
How you doing?
Great. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Coach. What happened after the game on Sunday? I mean,
What happened after the game?
yeah, what was kind of, going through your head and your whole experience?
It was normal all the way up until, somebody grabbed me and said, "You better stick around." Because normally we take a shower and we, if we lose, we lick our wounds, we go home, and but they told me to stick around because Coach wasn't feeling well. So, and then I knew that I would possibly have to do the post game. So that's what I did. I stuck around for it, and they went in, looked at Coach Reed, saw him, talked to him, and he said, "You ready to do that?" I said, "Sure." Because they were looking at him at that point, and then, and then it went from there. So
we had a chance to talk to you briefly after the game. You were still probably not knowing exactly what was going to happen with him. When did you find out they were going to have to actually take him to the hospital? What was Sunday night like?
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually knew it before I went in there, that they were going to take him in because it was really precautionary, so they were going to try to get him in there. And the best way to do it was, obviously get the ambulance in there and take him out. But, he was in great spirits at that time, and, he was, they were checking him out, and they were all over it. The doctors were on top of it, and he was fine. Obviously now we can say that, but.
Normally, he doesn't turn it off Sunday after the game. So what was Sunday night like? Were you guys getting messages from him? Was he trying to?
We didn't hear from him, but I did hear from Rick, keeping us updated. Rick was keeping us all updated at that time, how he was doing. And it was all good. It was all real good. And they, then we understood that they were going to keep him overnight. We found that out, and that they were going to check him out until the next day.
Is there a protocol for that kind of thing? Have you ever considered a scenario like this where anything?
No, we never went through a practice round or anything. You could say that was kind of it right there, and we would have hit the ground running. I think, the good thing about Coach is that we have a structure in what we do. It's a process. So we knew exactly, where we would go from there and how we would go on with the week, and so we were ready for that if something happened like that.
You talk a lot about guys on special teams, contributing on special teams. A lot of times it's the younger guys, third string guys.
Yep.
We don't quite know what Josh Gordon's role is going to be yet. Is he going to be a guy that's going to contribute?
Probably not.
Okay.
I talked to him yesterday. I said, if you can return kicks, he just started laughing. Because we have all those guys out there that do it, and I didn't ask him if he can cover any kicks either, but. I just think he's beyond that, to be honest with you. If he comes in to help us, it's going to be, as a 2 or a 3 receiver, and I think, in that role, he won't be playing special teams. The main thing that he needs to do right now, and I know Coach is talking, is get up to speed of what we're doing. And when our offense is complicated and there's a lot to it. So he's not coming to special teams meetings. He's doing that. He's meeting with Joe.
Dave, you've been back to places you've coached before, but what's it like to go back to Philadelphia? And what do you remember about that last experience? It was a while ago now.
It was a while ago, and we were excited for Andy. Obviously that was a long time. Was that 2013?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. But it's always good to go back. We went back to Chicago, and that was I was there for 9 years, and it's always fun. There's high anxiety before the game, but after the game, you always, you enjoy it more when you win, obviously. So I'm sure, it's going to be important to Andy. I don't want to speak for him, but I know it will.
The other thing, a little twist on it, is that each franchise has won a Super Bowl since then, so it's a little different. What do you suppose the reception for Andy will be like? I'm sure we know it's going to be mixed with Philly fans.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be. It's different out there. But I do think, Andy was a beloved guy out there. He was there for 14 years, and they appreciate Andy Reid.
Dave, you saw where Justin Tucker broke the record the other day. Little part of you, or any part of you, disappointed that Bucker didn't get a crack at that record first?
I know Bucker can be in that range. On a right day, he can be. He'd have a real shot at it. In the right situation. But it's not surprising that Tucker got the record. I mean, he is a great kicker. He's got a great mindset, and his leg is so strong. But Butker, if there's one guy that can do it, that can break the record, it's Harrison. And even their coach told me that, after, because I congratulated the coach, and he told me that very thing, that your guy can break it. And in the right situation, I believe he can.
That right situation, obviously with Justin doing it was in a dome.
It was in a dome.
Is that something that you would consider like?
Yeah, in a dome. I mean, that's a perfect. Obviously in a vacuum, you're good. If you're outside and you got the wind at your back, end of half, long field goal before the half, you try. And then the game where you got to do what you got to do there. So if you get the wind right, Butker can do it.
You're going for that type of kick, you got to be wary of a return. So
yes, it happened. It's so ironic because it happened this week. I mean, Jacksonville. I mean, I know it was Jacksonville. I was trying to remember who the kicker was. Yeah, Arizona kicked it. It was a 68-yarder. They tried, and obviously you're going to put a returner back there no matter what. You're going to put a returner there because you're returning against a bunch of old linemen that aren't great cover guys. So they did it, and that's the risk that you take about kicking a long, field goal. And you have to teach your guys how to cover, how to fan the field, and not get all bunched up. I'm not saying that's what happened in Arizona, but there's always that chance that that big play can happen against you.
For 3 weeks, what are your evals currently on Hardman and Pringle as the starting returns?
Good. We're just having a lot of opportunities. Hardman, I thought he was really good in the game. I mean, he was hitting it hard. Even on offense, he was getting the ball and going north and south. I mean, it was something we haven't seen from him. He was physical, and that was good to see. And then Pringle, I mean, we just haven't had opportunities on the kick return. We had the one, and he did a great job with it. We got a nice 30-yard return last week. So still early. It's early yet in the season, and I'm happy with those guys right now.
You typically have an aggressive mentality on the kick return. You're still subscribing to if they feel good, it's 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, they understand. We give them parameters every week, because depending on who we're playing. Like if the ball's not hanging and it's a low kick and it's 5 deep, we might challenge them and come on out with it because of time, But if you got last week we had a kicker that really hung the ball. It was a 4 or 5 hang time at 5 deep. We didn't want to come out. But the other one, that he came out with, it was a shorter kick. The hang time wasn't there, and we were able to get it out. So it all matters what kind of kicker you have and what kind of coverage you got.
Dave, one of the things that you're probably going to see less of, just because this is what football is punts. I mean, people are going for 4th downs. I think the Chargers only had one official 4th down they went for the other day, but they tried to go for it, had illegal shift and all these things. What's that like on the sideline? You think back in the day, like, we're going to get punt here.
Yeah, we're all ready. Obviously we were all ready for the field goal block team, because, I mean, everything tells you they're going to kick the field goal right there. It's tied up, and they're going to go ahead. And then they put the field goal on the team, then on the field, then they took them off, and then decided to go for it, and then they had the penalty, and then now I thought, sure, they were going to kick it. No, they go for it again. So what was it, 4th and 9, I think, and they, obviously, and then, so a little different. We're prepared with field goal block, and we're prepared with punt return, every time. But teams are definitely taking more of a risk against us now. Obviously, they don't want to give the ball back to Mahomes.
Anybody else? Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks. See you later.
Who's out there?
I think I saw Kelce earlier.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Travis. What do you remember about that last time you played the Eagles?
Just winning and having all the family and friends up at Arrowhead that came out to see the game. We had a few coming from Cleveland that day, and just a lot of family and friends, man. It was a fun experience to leave out of there with a win. I'm not sure if Jason felt the same way, but it was definitely cool.
You were a little extra amped, I think, during the game. Is that fair to say, with Jason too? And is that sort of thing that's on your mind going into this?
Sort of, I guess. I mean, I think it's always in the back of my mind that, not only is it my brother, but and this is nothing against Kansas. I love Kansas City. I'm so fortunate to be here, man. But they took the opportunity away from me to play with my brother in Philly when they picked Zach Ertz in the draft. So it's just in me to see that, and Zach Ertz has been awesome for him, helped him get a Super Bowl. So I mean, it wasn't the wrong pick. It's just in my mind they took that opportunity when I thought it'd be so cool to play at all three levels with my brother. But I'm happy I landed here in Kansas City. I can tell you that much.
Trev, there's a picture of you kissing him after the game. Like, how much is that in the Kelce household?
That picture? It's not in my household. I made sure I sent it to him, though.
You were hurt your rookie year, right? Did you even make the trip up there to Philly?
Yeah, so that was my rookie year, and that was the year that I was banged up, and I believe I was actually on the 53 still then. I think that was like week 6, and that might have been my last week, but I did not dress that day. No.
It's fun. I mean, the attitude of the Philly fans. That was Andy's first trip back there. What do you remember about that night? And you'd expect it to be a little bit different now because it's been longer. He's been away. He's won a Super Bowl. And they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think personally, I've been to Philly a bunch of times since Coach Reid has been here, obviously, and I'd hear nothing but great things from Philly fans about Coach Reid. I mean, they absolutely loved him, adored him when he was in Philly. Obviously, he gave him a number of successful seasons, or just seasons that they could feed off of, and they just have a tremendous respect for Coach Reid, just as everybody else.
What do you take us back to Sunday? You guys were obviously disappointed with the way the game went, and then tell us about when you heard that Coach wasn't going to be at the podium, he was going to go to the hospital, and just the uncertainty that you guys had, and maybe you finally got to see him again this week.
Yeah, I mean, health is everything, right? I mean, this game is whatever, knowing the people in this building. Football is such a small aspect of life that we all take for what I'm trying to say is that everybody football is secondary, right? We're always thinking of health first, and that was the biggest thing for me, just to make sure that the big guy was okay. I wasn't even thinking about what it would be like without him in the building or anything like that. I just wanted to make sure that Coach Reid knew he had our support and that we were thinking about him.
Travis, what was it like for you when Jason won a Super Bowl, watching his celebration, and I wonder what you felt his feeling was for you when you guys won and how you celebrated?
I was in the stands crying in Minnesota when he won his. It was an unbelievable game between them and the Patriots. Back and forth, a lot of emotion, a lot of scoring, which is fun to watch. Yeah, it was. I remember being in the stands and just being happy for him to get to the mountaintop. Being a walk-on linebacker at the University of Cincinnati and finding his way into All-Pro and just the stardom that he's had in his career. It's been cool to see him become who he is, and people get attracted to that because he's a fun guy to be around.
And the flip side of that for him towards you, did he reciprocate the feeling?
Oh man, it was cool to just be on the field with him. I did a few interviews with him. They were trying to make it about us, and he was trying to push it all to me. And I just that's him being a big brother and always having support, and being there when times are rough and then when times are great.
How well do you know Josh Gordon's game?
Familiar. I mean, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, so yeah, seeing him play for the Browns, we have some Cleveland connections in terms of who he knew in the city, and I just respect the heck out of him. And as a professional, everything from every team that he's been on, asking about him, and everybody praises him in terms of his work ethic. And I think this team is definitely suited for a guy like that, man, to come in and just work his tail off and try and get better.
How do you look at practice yesterday?
He was flying around, man. It was fun. It's when you see an athlete like that run, man, it's pretty cool.
As one of the leaders on the team, you haven't lost 2 years in a row since the Super Bowl season, but this is the first time in some time that you've been under 500. What's your message to your teammates in the locker room to get back on track with hopefully getting the win on Sunday?
Have a sense of urgency and don't panic. I mean, it's right there. We got a long season left, and and we got the guys to get it fixed, right? We got the mentality, the leaders in the locker room to make sure that we're all doing the right things. But it starts in practice. It starts in our attention during the install, the game plans and stuff like that. And then when we go out on the field, understanding why we're, calling the plays that we're calling and running them to full speed, making sure that we're covering all the little details, just back to the fundamentals.
Has that stuff changed this week? I mean, do you notice a difference in the mood or things like you just...
We were flying around yesterday, yeah. I mean, it was a little muggy, but everybody you could see was dripping sweat, and they were trying to work on their craft to get better.
Was there a conversation that you guys had, or was it just sort of understood that that's what needed to happen?
I mean, every single Tuesday, we'll walk into the building, and Coach Reed will have a team meeting, and he sets the challenge right there. It'll be a little review, and it'll be where we're going next. And sure enough, like I said, the leaders in this locker room, we're here, and it means a lot to us. So we're going to find a way to figure things out and rally the group to make sure that everybody's doing the right things. But that Tuesday meeting when Coach Reed came in, he presented us with the challenge, which is the Philadelphia Eagles and how we're, mentality going to attack them or get ready for this game. Everybody responded right.
You talk about the emotion of watching your brother, doing the Super Bowl. When you look across and see 62 out there, I know you typically you don't really watch the other team's offense, but just being able to see him out there, what's that emotion going to be like?
Honestly, man, it's tough for me to watch the Eagles and not just watch my brother the entire play, man. I get fired up from just watching them, and honestly, I learned a little bit here and there about how to attack a guy in terms of leverage and some of the techniques that the old veteran over there has figured out. It's just and also where his eyes are in terms of how coverage relates and stuff like that in the screen game. He's second to none when it comes to stuff like that.
And what's the wager? Is there back and forth?
There is no wager. No. I still got to call him. I got a few people that need tickets. I got to give them a shout.
That was actually going to be my question. What kind of game week trash talk is there between you and your brother, or any?
There really isn't. I mean, we play on the same side, right? We're both offensive sides, so there's not much trash talk to go around. And plus, right now we're 2-1. We're just trying to get back on the winning train. I believe, or 1-2. I believe both the Eagles are the 1 and 2 as well. So.
You had another 100-yard game on Sunday, and that gives you the most past Tony Gonzalez for club history. I know you don't get too much of the numbers and accolades and that kind of thing, but Tony said that you're like a little brother to him. What's Tony Gonzalez to you?
That's pretty cool, man. I mean, he's like my uncle, man. He's like my older brother. He's always been right there. If I need to reach out for anything, I really haven't quizzed him or grilled him since my rookie year in this offseason. If you guys didn't see it on game day, we sat down and watched some film, and I was just sitting there and just grilling him on every single decision, what he was looking at, and what it is. It's reassurance, that what I'm doing or what I could be doing at this point in my career can keep getting higher, better, and better every single week. And having a guy like that in your hip pocket, man, that's something I definitely don't take for granted.
Travis, we've heard from Patrick's side of it, obviously following the game on Sunday, but you guys are so good at improvising and understanding what your teammate is doing. I just wonder, with the interception, what's the lesson that's learned there, and is there anything that you can take away when you looked at it on film?
The biggest thing is just to communicate. I told him what I was thinking. He told me what he was thinking, and from there we just make and get an understanding of, all right, next time we'll do this, and that's the biggest thing, is to keep growing through conversation and through, film review as a team. And that's with everybody, if I see something, I'll go up to him and say, hey, this is what he told me in a situation like this, let's try and work that into the next time, whatever it is. And that's just the culture of this offense.
The other thing about that 2017 game, I think that was sort of during a time when you were still getting a number of penalties, and that's really changed. I wonder if you could just account for how that's grown.
I remember I got a personal foul that game for yelling at the sideline when Kareem broke the long run.
That's right.
It's little stuff like that is unneeded. I made the extra point harder on our field goal kicker. I'm not sure who it was back then. It might have been Santos. It might have been Bucker. I don't know.
No,
I'll let you guys figure that one out. But just being more accountable, and that's having successful plays, and then when you think about doing something stupid, don't do it. That's as flat as easy as it is. Just be able to control that emotion, man.
Are you proud of that? Are you proud of that part of your growth?
I mean, you have to be. You have to be. You know, what I'm more proud of is that, you know, I represent the team in the right way. That's the biggest thing, because I wasn't doing that when I was doing those silly things and those stupid penalties.
Was there a point where you came to that realization?
Without a doubt, every time I did it. As soon as I did, I'm walking off the field. Shouldn't have done that.
Flag against Jacksonville, you threw it at the referee?
That kicked me out of the game. It took me out of the game in, I believe, the first half. So that was silly, and I regret doing it to this day, man.
Travis, I have one more question about your brother. You mentioned Ertz. You lost a bet with him recently about the trade, and has this like beach blonde hair. I was wondering.
He looks sweet, man. He looks sweet. He's got like the Bosworth swag going right now. It's like a Street Fighter or something, man. It's pretty sweet. I'm digging it. I don't know how long he'll keep it.
One quick fun one, I guess. Cincinnati, Notre Dame this week, right? I don't think we've talked to you since Cincinnati's going to move to the Big 12. Just what are your thoughts about your alma mater? How big this one is this week, and kind of what it would mean to be in the Big 12?
The Bearcats, baby. Listen, I love UC. Ever since I was there, the people still got a good group of people. When I was there, are still there running the ship. And sure enough, Coach Fickle has those guys playing their tail off. I'm happy for the university to get into a bigger conference and what that'll do for the recruiting and what it'll do for that that fan base, that Bearcats fan base, and make them that much more rowdy there in the NIP. I love everybody back there at Cincinnati. Hopefully I can get back to a game before the end of the season. But this week's a big week, man. We get to play my ex-coach, Brian Kelly, man, who I had a lot of respect for. He had me at quarterback a little bit. Don't know if that was the plan the whole time, but we had a lot of fun back then. And to see where he's at Notre Dame, being I think the most winningest coach there or something like that, yeah, I mean that's impressive stuff. So I think it'll be a great challenge for the Bearcats, man. But I think we'll pull away.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, Travis.
You see.
All right, guys, we got time to cover our winners. Thank you, man.
I didn't think there was going to be this many at all.
It's different outside your car now. Maybe because you have the mask on right here.
Really good timing right there.
Any puke on the car after Sunday's game?
Not this week, no. My neighbors weren't even been intense.
Anybody puke in your car?
All right, guys, fire away.
I know there's danger in assuming things, but when you guys left training camp and approached the regular season, what were your thoughts on how you guys were going to start the season defensively, and what's your level of surprise at how things have gone through these 3 games, that in terms of defensively?
Yeah, I mean, you deal with different things throughout the course of the season, obviously. Coming into training camp, we had a couple points of emphasis, the things that we really wanted to get better at, things that we worked on getting better at. It hasn't really gone our way. We're not necessarily disappointed or discouraged. We know that there's just a lot more work for us to, do. So just constantly trying to pull the group together, keep the group together. I think that's the most important thing.
What's sort of the balance between having some urgency to get turned around versus, not panicking, I guess?
Well, we got some great coaches, man. We like to, take their word for it. So obviously, every week in the NFL, you have to have a sense of urgency. Every game is important, especially, divisional games. But you just got to keep chipping away, man. You can't necessarily change the things that has happened. You just got to paint a clearer picture of, how you want things to go, going forward.
Tyrann, I'll take you back to 2019. When I asked you about Terrell Suggs, when he came to this team, you said he brought the championship swagger. You carried that, you preached it to the team, you told us about it. How do you guys get back to that?
Just playing for each other. I think, anytime you have, great success in this league as a team, individually, it's a lot of outside noise, a lot of outside opinions, expectations. People want you to play how they expect you to play. But at the end of the day, it's all about the guys in the room, the guys in the locker room, our coaches. And as long as we kind of keep that, mentality, I think being 1-2, won't necessarily stop us from getting to our ultimate goal, and that's to, win a championship and obviously, win a division.
Tyrann, as one of the leaders on the team, when you go back and you look at the film, especially the last 3 games, what's the conversation like, not only in the field room but in the locker room, on how you all can improve and limit the mistakes that are being made?
Yeah, I think, mostly when we watch the tape, obviously, you're playing against other NFL players. They make plays too. They get paid too. But anytime you miscommunicating or, you can't get lined up, you beating yourself pre-snap, that's the things that are in our control, getting lined up, communicating the right way. And so as long as we could continue to correct those things, I think our defense is amazing. Everybody has to be on the same page, but once we're able to kind of not beat ourselves pre-snap, I think we could play good defense.
How common is that, Tyrann? What you just mentioned, the pre-snap stuff, how common of a problem has that been for the first?
I mean, it's come up, a couple times throughout the course of each game, this season. So, and I think that mostly falls on the players that's out there. That's not necessarily coaching or anything like that. You have to stay focused, throughout the course of the game, and especially in the secondary. Anytime you miscommunicate or you take a false step, those plays are explosives. So we just got to be really conscious of that.
Tyrann, I'm guessing you played against Josh Gordon somewhere along the line?
Maybe. I can't really remember.
Well, how do you look at practice yesterday?
I mean, he kind of reminds me of Calvin Johnson, just the way he's built. I mean, the guy looks like, one of those kind of guys that, you see 2 people on him, you still throw the ball to him. So, and I mean, we're really just looking forward to seeing what he could come in and really bring to the team. Obviously, everybody in the locker room got a great responsibility to continue to encourage him and push him in the right direction. But from what I've seen, he's a hell of a football player.
Tyrann, someone that is not Calvin Johnson, former Heisman Trophy winner, Devonte Smith. What have you all seen on film that gives you all cause for pause?
Yeah, I mean he's a playmaker. They put him in positions to really make plays. I played against this head coach when he was in Indianapolis, and they kind of use him the same way they use T.Y. Hilton. So they're going to create opportunities for him to get the ball. Obviously he's an explosive player, and I think the best way to handle those guys is to play press man on them, disrupt them at the line of scrimmage. Kind of make their day frustrating.
Based upon the miscues you're saying that they're pre-snap and maybe like a misstep, how quickly fixable do you think then is the defense?
I think it's quickly fixable, man. As long as guys take the accountability and the responsibility, and accept it first and foremost, and raise their hand and say, hey, that was me that messed this up or miscommunicated. The more we could do that, the more we could correct, the problems. But, we got good guys in our locker room, great guys that stand up for themselves, stand up for their teammates. So, I expect us, like I said earlier, to be where we need to be. But obviously, we need to get there a little bit quicker.
Darren, it's tough to play defense in the NFL. We all know that. It's getting even tougher now.
Really tough.
People go for 4th and 9s, 4th and 4s. What's that like to adjust? And you've been in the league long enough to where it's like used to be 4th down as you punt.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not the case anymore.
I mean, it's a great opportunity, man. It's a great challenge. That's why I love playing, defense. Reacting to the unexpected, just being challenged. All 4 downs. And us as a defense, we have to accept that, challenge. Anytime it's 4th and more than 1 yard, I feel like we should be able to win those downs. So it just comes with a mindset. Coaches constantly, harping away at it. The leaders on the defense, just constantly implementing, that attitude. I think that's really, what it comes down to.
On the 4th and 9 of the day, it was confusing on TV when people were watching. They said they called it on Dan, that they called it the PI on Baker, you were over there near. What could you hear what the conversation was with the officials? You guys gone back and looked at that? What did you think of the call?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I didn't think it was. I'm an aggressive guy. I would never call pass interference, but I think the ref behind Baker, I think he saw the tug. So anytime you see guys leaning back, arms extended, that's easy flag, for the ref to throw.
And the other thing from Sunday, I saw your tweet after the game. We were all, waiting for Coach Reed. He didn't come to the press conference because he had to go to the hospital. Take us through what Sunday night was, getting the information to try to pass it on to your teammates, and then how happy you were when you saw him in here.
Yeah, man, really, man. Honestly, just really hoping for the best. Obviously, none of us really know what was going on. I think we all know deep down in our hearts that Coach Reed is a tough guy. He's strong. He'll try his best not to miss a day of work, but just really hoping for the best, man. Praying a lot. I text his wife. Just really, just sitting with them, praying with them, hoping for the best. But more than glad that he's back at work, back to himself, cracking jokes, just being him.
You're an early arriver here to work. You ever beat him to work?
Never. No, I don't think I ever could. I think he sleeps here, but I don't know.
Tyrann, so much of coaching is about reassuring and obviously giving a message down to the players, but because of what you mentioned earlier, that you feel like a lot of this is, a player responsibility. Is there something that you may say to Spags or Coach Merritt or Madison from a player perspective that gives them reassurance that things are going to get fixed throughout the season? Yeah, I think you really lean on each other, for encouragement. I think coaches need it from time to time. Obviously players need it, but I think mostly just guys showing up to work with the right kind of attitude, the right spirit, being what they're supposed to be. I think that's like all the reassuring, that a coach really needs, because he just wants guys that are present and here, that's listening, that's focused, that's where their feet at. And I think as players, that's not too much of a responsibility, when we make the kind of money we make. So it's a blessing to be able to come to work, play football, play a game, really, for a living. It's really our responsibility to handle our business, in the right way, because our coaches deal with enough as it is, just like us as players. They got their own lives as well, and stress builds up. And so as players, when we come to work, just try to be the best, professional you could be. I think that's the best way to kind of, assure your coach that, hey, this guy's still with us, he's ready, he's committed, he's going to get better.
You did get a chance to watch the Monday night game. What was your takeaway from Monday night? What you saw Philly? Of course, you're going to be playing Dallas, so what was your takeaway from the?
Well, I thought Philly came out, man. I thought they tried to be aggressive, throwing the ball down the field. They probably threw the ball more early on in that game than they did in a previous game. So I could see them, obviously trying to get those young receivers involved, get those guys' confidence build up. But I could also see those guys coming in against us and trying to really, secure the ground game and get that rolling. Obviously, that opens up a lot of the speed that they have on the outside with Rieger and Smith and even Watkins. So they got some guys that can fly, down the field. And I think if they could get the run game going, they'll be able to take the shots that they really want to take.
Tyrann, you talk about being an aggressive guy. A lot of times you show your emotion. We see it on film and all that. But how do you make sure that these young guys, you don't take their confidence from them? And I know they're pros, right? They're supposed to do a job. But being that aggressive guy, and sharing Spags' message on the field, how do you make sure that they still are in tune and have that same mentality?
It's all about approach. You can approach some guys, one way, and other guys you have to kind of, take the back door. So I think as a leader, just being able to understand or differentiate, how to approach people, I think that's the best way to, get through to people.
Okay, thanks, Darren.
Appreciate it. Thank you.